Greetings, art connoisseurs, tubers and pickers. It's Drew. Time for another installment of the CPMA, and that's the California Pickin Museum of Art, where I show you exclusive individual examples of fine art and antiquities from my own private collection. So let's go to it. Today, I'm very excited to show you this object, you guys. It's a very rare and ancient object. I'm pretty sure none of you have seen one of these outside of a museum. And what this is an ancient Chinese ceramic turned vessel from the YUAN Dynasty. And the YUAN Dynasty, spelled Y-U-A-N, is 600 to 700 years old, you guys. That's the age on this little vessel in my possession, 600 to 700 years old. Now, the reason I bought it was really what's on the inside. Let's go to it. Look at this. This incredibly rare and fantastically executed, perfect symmetrical spiral on the inside of the vessel, you guys. How did he do that? I think he either stuck his finger in there or a rounded stick and turned this on a ceramic wheel, I'm just guessing, to get that perfect spiral. I just don't even know how he did it. There's no flaws, there's no overlaps, there's no mess ups. It's absolutely like it's done by a machine. And of course, there are no machines 600 to 700 years ago. Look at that. Oh my gosh. So that makes it incredibly rare for any of these ancient vessels from China or anywhere else. Now, it is missing a lid. Almost assuredly this had a lid to it. Now, I'm not sure if this is some ancient form of porcelain. Chinese invented porcelain. Chinese invented a lot of things. Gunpowder, I mean, many forms of weaponry and metallurgy, casting iron bronzes back in the Shang Dynasty in BC. And then later you had the Han Dynasty, also BC, where they started to make ceramics, and famous for doing those funerary statues in the Han Dynasty that would be put into tombs to escort the dearly departed to the afterlife. And then, of course, in the Tang Dynasty, which followed the Han, which goes into the AD period, really got into glazing their pots and their figures. And so in the Tang Dynasty you see a lot of these large horses and animals and statues and standing figures with heavy glazes on them, multicolored glazes. So in the Han Dynasty it was very subtle and muted, and then we got to the Tang Dynasty, they went a little crazy with the colors and started developing these great glazes that we see in the later periods, such as the YUAN Dynasty here in this example. Now, it has a couple condition issues. It's got a break in the handle right here, the remnants of a handle right there, and on the other side as well. And what I'm thinking is that the handle shape probably looked like this. I'm just taking a guess, but it was probably like an ear shape, like that, just guessing. And it didn't touch this other side, so therefore it was weak at this point, and it snapped off right there on both sides. And I love this stain right here, this drip, this overflow of glaze or slip, that's called. And that's not a mistake, you guys. That's done on purpose by the artist. And he would let the glaze pool up right there and form that real individual spot. And that would give the vessel its own identity and its own fingerprint. It's like a snowflake. Everyone is different. And so you'll see that a lot on ancient Chinese vessels, that stain or spot. In China and also Japan sometimes features those type of glazes. But so let's go to the bottom. Here we see a little note that I put in there for myself. and some earthquake putty, that yellow stuff, that comes right off, don't worry about that. But it's holding my little note in there now, and it says Ancient Chinese YUAN Dynasty 1279-1368 AD. Now, to give you some perspective, Christopher Columbus wasn't even born, you guys. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't even a gleam in his father's eye. He wasn't even conceived. His parents, I'm going back. This is pretty darn amazing. This is before the Renaissance. We're coming out of the Dark Ages in Europe at the point in which this vessel was made in China. And of course in China they're building walls and palaces and discovering all kinds of things in metal making and forge making, iron weapons and sculptures and all kinds of things. The Chinese were into developing medicine and philosophies of living, and boy, the Chinese, there's nothing the Chinese didn't really do. Pretty darn incredible. They were the greatest basket makers, which I'll show you an example of a couple incredible baskets I have. And their artists were, second to none. The Chinese had it all. And I'm getting a little glare in here today, sorry about that. But I thought you'd like that. You're not going to see this on anybody else's Pickin channel, guys, or anywhere, except for California Pickin Museum of Art. So I thought you'd like that. Some of you know that the other day a world record was set for an ancient Chinese vessel, and it was a bowl from the Song Dynasty, S-O-N-G Dynasty, and it was a white glazed incised bowl, and it was purchased at a yard sale for $3. I mentioned this on my California Pickin Live broadcast the other night. Somebody purchased for $3 at a yard sale, and it sold for $2.5 million, you guys. I mean, who's singing the blues on that one? Oh my gosh. So now what happens is that's a great sign when something sells like that, because all these other dynasties will get a bump from that. In other words, that is like a first tier, definite first tier item, and so all these other dynasties that are on the 4th, 5th, 6th tier get bumped up by that purchase. It's sort of like when a house sells on your street and sells for a lot of money, your house value of your house goes up. And that's just how it works. Now it goes up and down, fluctuates. Now that's not always true, but very often it is. And what we're seeing is the Chinese are buying back a lot of their antiquities from many, many years ago, because all that was lost to export. And now the Chinese have a lot of money and they're buying back their own heritage and their own particular art. And so just know that the Chinese have a very hot art market right now. I want to show you this. This is from originally when I bought the bowl. And there it is, photographed by the gentleman that sold me the bowl online. He's a known dealer of ancient Chinese antiquities. And there you can see the broken off handle, and you can see the stain. You can see there's a little rise in the rim right there. And here's what it says: Chinese YUAN Dynasty 1279-1368 glazed jar item. It's guaranteed to be from the YUAN Dynasty. Now I have one other photograph to show you. Here it is on its side, nicely posed on its side on a red background. Love that. I wish I had the red velvet to pose this guy on today. But there you see the stain. Here you see the remnant of the handle, same thing, and the little rise in the rim. And here I'm going to compare it to this and show you that this is the same vessel. It's pretty obvious, but if you needed proof, The stain is the same. The little rise right there is the same in the rim. And of course I showed you the broken off handles. So you know that that's the real deal right there. So beautiful example of YUAN Dynasty ceramics. So anyways, if you like the video, please subscribe, hit your likes, and come on back to the California PICKIN Museum of Art. I try to do these videos every Friday. If I mess up or can't make it, I'll always follow up on another day. So there you go. That's me, Drew. And keep on picking your fine art. Cheers.